This is a video on summarizing. Summarizing and condensing the information makes it easier to learn and remember for tests and exams. It is a great way to start your study as you are thinking about the information as you try to understand it and put it into your own words. Why make study notes? The advantages include: you are checking your understanding of the material in a timely manner. It will highlight any problems in your understanding. You are revising as you go when you make study notes. It gives you a great time advantage if you have blocks of exams. It is a great way to study for tests so that you remember the information. You are condensing and organizing the material to learn for tests and exams. What are study notes? You have your notes and handouts from class. You also might have a textbook and maybe other resources. Your study notes are where you get a separate piece of paper and in point form combine the information on the topic from different sources in order to create a condensed and organized version of the topic that is then easier to learn and remember. Study notes are where you take all the information from your notes in class, your handouts, your textbook, and any other sources of information you write out in an organized way, in point form, the information you need to understand or learn or use. It's not just rewriting your notes from class, it's combining all information on a topic to make a new set of condensed notes. When should I do study notes? If you are having a topic test, make the study notes as a way of studying for the topic test. If you're going to have exams on a number of topics, make study notes at the end of each topic or at the end of a big section. Don't wait until just before the exams. When the exams approach, you can improve and add more to your study notes. What format should the notes be in? You can keep study notes in any of the following forms. You can have a separate exercise book or lecture pad for the summaries of each subject. You can use loose leaf paper and store the notes in the back of your folder, perhaps. You can buy a separate display folder for each subject, the ones with the plastic sleeves, or a separate folder and write your summaries on loose leaf paper and file them into the display folder for that subject. The actual format of the pages can be mind maps or other forms of graphical note-taking. They can be linear note-making where the information is presented in a structured point form format. How do I make study notes? Gather all the information on the topic, work out the main sections or headings of the topic, do a one-page overview, work on one section at a time, skim the information first. Start making point form notes on this section. Make your notes visual and memorable, perhaps including some sketches in there. Update and add to your notes as you go, and you can consider making an executive summary, which is kind of like a summary of your summary. Where do mind maps fit in? Take a blank piece of scrap paper and write the topic in the center or at the top of the page. Put a box around this heading. Now on a separate piece of scrap paper, write down a list of the main headings by looking through all the textbook, class notes and handouts. For each heading, jot down any subheadings that are related to this heading. See if there are any links between any of the headings. See if the headings should be put in a particular order. You don't want too many headings, but you don't want too few as well. On your mind map page, draw lines or arrows out from the topic showing the main headings for the topic. Put circles around each of these headings. For each heading, draw other arrows coming out for the subheadings for each of these topics. You can also put point form notes under each of these headings, but don't make the page too cluttered. You may find it is a good idea to do a rough draft of the mind map first, as until you know how many headings and subheadings there are, it's difficult to ensure that your layout for the mind map is spaced out properly. How can I improve study notes? Space out your work adequately. Redo sections of the notes that are hard to understand. Make sure headings and subheadings are clear and stand out. Make your notes visual with lots of colour, diagrams and tables. Photocopy and include good diagrams from your textbooks. Underline or highlight keywords or important points. Use colour for emphasis. Keep work neat with consistent, neat handwriting and colours. Develop a system of abbreviations for regular use and use point form and key phrases. After tests or exams, add to your study notes based on what you learnt in the exam. Perhaps there's a section that you missed. Highlight or box key points or formulas so that they stand out and are memorable. Incorporate good handouts into your study notes. Check your textbook to ensure that you've included everything you need to know. Use lists or numbering where possible. Use wide margins so that you can add extra information as your understanding grows. Use subheadings, indenting, numbering. The more sections that are broken down, the easier they are to learn. Complete sentences should be rare. Key phrases and point form is more effective. Include diagrams wherever possible, as they are easier to remember than lots of words at times. Make sure your notes are comprehensive, which means includes everything you need to know from a variety of sources and are memorable. What do I do with the study notes after I've done them? Read a section, put them aside, then see what you can write out without looking at them. You don't even have to be able to read what you write, it's just seeing if you can recall it without the notes in front of you. Check what you got right and wrong and what you remembered against your notes, then test yourself again on the bits you got wrong. You can read a section out loud, put them aside, then see what you can say out loud without looking at the notes. Check what you got right and wrong and what you remembered against your notes, then test yourself again on the bits you got wrong. Read a section while you pace around your room. Put them aside, then see what you can type onto a blank Word document without looking at the notes. Check what you got right and wrong and what you remembered against your notes, and then test yourself again on the bits you got wrong. And that's all to do with summarising. I hope that rundown helps, and all the best with your studies.